And this presentation will also be going live on the website next week for anybody who has missed it today. So today we are delighted to focus on the future with the rebrand of the partnership, the new website and social media presence. Again, a little bit of Zoom etiquette to begin. So if everybody is able to go on to mute, we will finish the session as always now with a question and answer session. So if anybody does have any questions as we're going along, then please type them into the chat box, or if questions come up at the end, then please feel free to continue to enter them into the chat box and we will deal with each of them in turn. So let's move on with the presentation. I will be, due to a couple of technical issues, asking Susan to be sharing her screen today. So Susan, if you can share your screen and we can begin.
Can you do it, Drew? It's saying that you need to do it.
Okay. I have to see if I can try and make you the host somehow.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay, you should now be the host, so you should be able to do that.
How's that?
Perfect. Thank you very much, Susan. So, as we said, this is the third day of Talk Money Week. So we are focusing, as I say, on the rebrand and on the new website. So up until the 5th of October of this year, the partnership was known as Money Advice West. I'm going to sound like Chris Whittier this presentation. Next slide, please, Susan. So Money Advice West was formed in 2006 for people who do not know the background of the partnership, and has been providing for 14 years since then. The partnership was formed out of 7 debt advice agencies, as picturized by the 7 circles in the logo. The name of the partnership became Money Advice West back in 2014, and had this logo for the first time then. A new website was launched around that time and updated in 2016, with a lot of time and effort being put in by those to make that successful at the time. However, the brand hasn't really gained much traction. The logo and name no longer reflects the membership of the partnership. The website has become a little tired and a little outdated, and our social media presence is minimal, to say the least. So it is time for a fresh start, and henceforth Money Advice West is no more and is now, next slide please, Susan, Debt Free Southwest. So this is the name of the partnership. As I say, it was launched as a soft launch internally from the 5th of October of this year. You may have seen some slight subtle changing to branding in kind of management meetings, and that's more or less about it that has happened up until today. However, from today, it is to be known publicly throughout meetings. Money Advice West is no more. We are now Debt Free Southwest moving forward. So as I say, Debt Free South West, next slide please, Susan, is a partnership of 9 partners now. So we have the original 7, which are Citizens Advice Bristol, Citizens Advice North Somerset, GL Communities from Gloucester, North Bristol Advice Centre, South Bristol Advice Service, St Paul's Advice Centre, and Talking Money. However, at the back end of 2019 and formally from the start of 2020, we've had 2 new partners. As I say, firstly, Citizens Advice South Somerset came on board in January of 2020. And most recently, we welcome Citizens Advice Bath and North East Somerset. We are really delighted to have our new partners on board, and they have proven to be valued participants in the matter of months that they've been members of the partnership. Next slide, please. So, why have we chosen Debt Free South West is what I could hear you say if you weren't on mute. So, our partnership is one of 4 independent advice partnerships funded by the Money and Pension Service to provide face-to-face advice, and that's in addition to the National Citizens Advice MASDAP partnership. We have developed over the years an excellent working relationship with projects based out of London, out of the East Midlands, and in Merseyside. Especially so over the past 12 months, where we have taken this to a new level with sharing of best practice between projects on project management tools being developed by the Greater Merseyside Partnership, through close working relationships between the quality managers across all 4 of the partnerships, and there have been some real advancements made. We have worked together and we continue to work together on training provision. We are also working on Embark with our friends at Payplan, and further details to come about that on Friday, along with Flex, which again is something that we're working together on. We at Debt Free South West have been taking the lead, but working with our partners around case recording, and the sub-grant agreement template is an excellent example of this from the start of the financial year, where all 4 of us worked together on the template. For example, ourselves, we took the lead on the wording of the template, obtaining specialist legal advice regarding the VAT consequences of the grant agreement. That came in at a sum which probably wouldn't have been affordable for our partnership on our own, but working as 4, we were able to have the joint advice split the cost and therefore ensured VAT compliance of the grant agreements and sub-grant agreements for the benefit of all 4 of our partnerships. It really was a great example of us all working together. So through this common working, we have realised we're working towards a common aim, and we have developed a core set of values, which is not only shared by the agencies within our partnership, but between the 4 independent partnerships. And as such, we have formed what you might call an alliance between us. So as part of that, we have rebranded, and Debt Free London had rebranded from Capitalise to Debt Free London around 20 months ago now, and have utilised that opportunity very successfully. We are following in those footsteps, utilising the learning, both the good and the bad from them, and going to be benefiting from that. Beyond the benefits of working more closely with our friends and colleagues in London, Leicester and Liverpool, this alliance allows for us to stand as a stronger voice in discussions with referrers. We're speaking as one. It makes it a much more simple process for them to be referring in to one alliance, as it were, such as national creditors, national agencies, again, such as Payplan, and with the Money and Pension Service in particular. For example, the Merseyside Partnership, GMAP, Debt Free London, and ourselves worked tirelessly during 2019. We built on the initial proposal by GMAP around the percentage scoring for the DAPA system, and ourselves and London worked closely with them to develop a proposal for the new scoring system, which has subsequently been adapted. And it's that common voice that allowed us to be heard and taken more seriously, putting our points across and having that working together as an alliance. Then we can make ourselves heard more, and the concerns that are raised by the partnership, by managers, by advisors, by anybody else within there, will allow for that to be heard more clearly. So with the new brand comes a new website, and we'll look at that shortly. As part of working closely with Debt Free London, this has allowed for us to utilise the work that they have done on their website and clone it and update it for the purposes of Debt Free South West. But more about that shortly. It wouldn't be right to move on without acknowledging that as part of the rebrand, there had been some concerns raised, particularly around the word debt. So this harks back to some behavioural science research that was undertaken since the turn of the century, and the negative connotations around the word debt and fear, and issues that it could lead to fear, to shame, and to embarrassment around seeking advice. However, Debt Free South West presence, we aim is to be relatively subtle in our locations, acknowledging that research. We're not ever going to be intending on rebranding agencies, making sure there's massive Debt Free South West signage on the outside of the agencies to ensure that, one, the agency retains its own identity, which is the main thing, and two, to ensure that there is no risk whatsoever of anybody being put off for fear, for shame, for embarrassment of accessing debt advice through an advice centre. However, we live in a world where a lot of people are now either accessing debt advice virtually, remotely, online, or at least finding out about how to access face-to-face services by searching online. And what term are they using to search online when they're in debt? They're searching the word debt. And as such, we would need the name debt in our name for search engine optimization to ensure that we are coming up at the top of the Google searches, to ensure that people know who we are, know who our partners are, so that they can then get advice from them. And finally, debt isn't the only word in the name of the partnership. It is Debt Free South West. And debt free is aspirational, and it's what a significant number of our clients want as a result of the debt advice process when they're coming in to see us. And it's that which we want to capitalise upon as part of our brand, and acknowledge that actually That is what our clients want, and it is a client-centered approach. And as such, the name change was agreed at the meeting of the project board managers on the 11th of August of this year. And from there, Debt Free Southwest was born. Okay, next slide, please, Susan. So, next question is, why did we need a new website? So the old Money Advice website, it's still there for now, is currently in the process of being redirected to the new page. However, it was a landing page. What this means is that when somebody clicked on the site and entered the website, there was very limited information, and it was designed that way. It was designed solely to get them onto the site and move them onto the partner's site. And this had actually very limited success. It's because there was no information for the client other than the locations for the agencies and their contact details. Also, the content was outdated. There's a picture on the front of 9 advisors. Nearly half of them are no longer working in the partnership. And there's also been limited other updates since the site was created in 2016. One thing that the site does have, which is really excellent, was the video on the front page about the debt advice journey. However, due to the size of the video and it being on the front page, it meant that the site is slow to load, particularly over an average internet connection, and especially when you're trying to access it from a mobile phone using mobile data. It's not only slow, it uses a lot of data, and it's off-putting for people to access the site. And what we don't want to do with the website is put any barrier there to drive people away. We also had a referral portal on the website, but that hasn't been working since November 2019, despite ongoing chasing, haranguing of the referral supplier by myself and numerous others. However, we still weren't able to engage them, even at wanting to pay them to fix the problem. They still wouldn't do it. So the referral portal hasn't been working. And finally, we had a Facebook and a Twitter presence as Money Advice West, but the last post on Facebook and the last post on Twitter were from March 2018. It's very clear that a fresh start was needed all round. Next slide, please, Susan. So, from one or two people who aren't on mute, I can hear, well, what's going to be different this time? So, Debt Free Southwest website is now packed full of information for the client. It's full from news and blogs about upcoming issues to information about individual debts and individual solutions. It is no longer just a landing page, but it is an all singing, all dancing website that is suitable, one, for 2020, and two, for clients who want to know a little bit of information about their issues. It gives them confidence because they've got know that that information is there, but they're going to need more, and that more is going to come from advice. And now you've got them by engaging with the website, with that information. They're going to stay with you and stay and get advice with you, rather than looking elsewhere and ending up a step change, for example. However, we don't lose sight that the key piece of the website is to drive people to be getting advice, and particularly from our partners. And so we are ensuring that there will be maps showing the partner locations. Each partner location will show transport information and the icons for their agency locations on the map. We know that we have to keep the website up to date, and as such we have now a dedicated resource through Justine, who is able to keep the Facebook and Twitter pages regularly updated, and working with myself, I will be asking out to individual partners if they've got any news, any blogs, any views that they want to put on the website. They're great. If there's case studies, we can put them on there as well to showcase the excellent work that's being done. What we also are able to do through the tie-up with our friends in London is that if they update with a blog, we can then put that on our website as well. If we're updating a blog, we would be able to put it on the London site as well. So it's that sharing of resource keeps both of our websites up to date and relevant. There's a get advice form on the website, which is secure and embedded within the website to allow for referrals to be made. There is an option which we've added to allow for the client to select where they want to seek advice. And when that is clicked upon, it then goes to the admin person for that individual agency to pick up that referral. Eventually, what we want to do is integrate that into the Flex system when that comes online to allow for that to show up much more easily. That is very much in phase 2. So, next slide, please, Susan. So the website, the moment that you have been waiting for. So it is debtfreesouthwest.uk. So we have purchased several domains to ensure that the brand is protected. So we have debtfreesouthwest.com, .co.uk, .org.uk. However, what we have chosen through seeking technical advice is debtfreesouthwest.uk. So this is the website. This is what it looks like when you log on. I have one small technical point to make, is that at present, because it went live yesterday, it isn't showing up for everybody. Hence why Susan is controlling the slides this morning. My provider BT hasn't updated. It can take, I've now been told this morning, up to 48 hours for certain internet providers to bring on websites that are new online. And as such, some people, when they're typing this address in, may instead, at the moment, go through to a holding page, which shows that the domain has been bought through Ionos, but will not go through to this site. This should rectify itself by lunchtime tomorrow. But if you are having any issues with accessing the site, then please do feel free just to drop me an email, as this has, as I say, been escalated to our developers. So looking at the site, it is clear. It has been developed so that it fits on differing devices. So all the content is there, clearly laid out. There is no overlay when it gets shrunk down to tablet or shrunk down to a mobile device. So it is adaptable. So if Susan's able to scroll down, so at the start we have information about accessing services through COVID-19. Scrolling down, we've got information, as I say, about each of the individual debts, with a small blurb on the opening page, and then the opportunity to read more information about those individual debts. Scrolling down further, you can see a link through to Trustpilot. At the moment, until Trustpilot process our change of name, which it will do within the next week, then the reviews for Debt Free London are currently showing up on our site. However, they will be replaced by Trustpilot reviews for Debt Free Southwest, Money Advice West as they were as soon as that's able to go live. And then finally, within the page, you've got how to access our advice. And you've got the several different methods there, and then further links available. We then have the footer again with all of those links, including the legal information around T's and C's, privacy statements, etc. Links through to Debt Free London and all of the other information. One of the points in process at the moment is the Find an Advice Centre. So if Susan, if you're able to click on that. Thank you. At the moment, we, as I said, because the website was initially cloned from London, it's only showing up the London locations. Within the next 7 days, then it will, firstly, the map will be centered over the southwest, and secondly, we'll be showing our locations as it is being updated all of the time. Susan, if you're then able to click on the About Us at the top, please. A little bit further up. Perfect, thank you. So each of those options, the first is About Us, and it gives some information about the partnership. It then, if you scroll down a little bit for me, it will show us the details about the values of Debt Free South West and also the partnership as a whole, and across the alliance of all of our partnerships. We then have information about our partners, and within the next phase of the build in the next week or two, each of those logos will then become a link to a separate page about the individual agency, and also have details about the staffing employed upon this grant at those individual agencies, so that if clients are wanting to know who they're speaking to, which is especially important in a remote world, where they may be speaking to somebody on the phone or by email, then it allows to have that personal touch as well. Okay, if you're able to scroll up for me, please, Susan. Thank you. If you can then go on to news and blogs. So there is a selection of news and blogs which had already been populated by our friends in London. So I've removed the ones which weren't relevant for ourselves, but have retained the more generic ones. So there's further information there. If you're able to scroll up for me, please. And for accessibility, then if you're able to click on the translate button for me, then there are the abilities and instructions to be able to translate the site into Polish, Spanish, Farsi, and another couple of languages as well. So we're trying to ensure that the website is accessible even for those whose first language isn't English. Okay, if you can click on the Understanding Debt for me, please, Susan. So this is where there's further information written from the point of view of the client to give them some very basic information about different types of debt. Not every type of debt is included, otherwise we would be going on and on and on, and it could be very off-putting for clients, but it gives the headline most common debts, and then some information about how we would then support the client through the debt advice journey. With time running short, I will leave people to explore the website on their own. But before we come off that page, just two things to bring to your attention very quickly. One is that on every page there is the free helpline, and that is the Money Advice West as it was phone number. So at present, it will take them through to the usual advice line, where you would click 1 for Gloucester and 2 for BS postcodes, and therefore take you through then typing in your postcode to get routed to the individual agency. When Flex comes online, then it will take you through Flex to allow for a much wider offering of advice. And then the orange button above that is where it says get free advice. If you can click on that for me, Susan, that takes you through to the get advice form that I was speaking about. Okay, lovely. Okay, thank you, Susan. Okay, next slide, please. As I say, we're not resting on our laurels. So we've got further development in place. As I say, there is the issue around ensuring that maps and locations are working and ensuring they're up to date, moving that get advice form across onto Flex, inputting the pen pics and bios of staff in the partnership and within each agency. You will be able to sign into Flex through the website, and we will be developing the advisor resource hub with information coming out about that. Also, we are developing Embark with our friends at Payplan, and further information about that on Friday, but that will be living through the access through the website. And long-term aims are for development of self-help sections similar to the My Money Steps that National Debtline have, to allow for enhanced self-help for clients who are able to access and process advice online. What we are open to are suggestions for website enhancement. So if you do have any suggestions, then those are welcome. Okay, next slide, please, Susan. So just rounding off very quickly, we have new Facebook pages and new Twitter pages with the link there, and I will let you explore those on your own time, as we've only got a couple of minutes left. So if you can move on to the final slide, please, Susan. So as I say, Twitter is @DebtFreeSW. If you search for Facebook for Debt Free Southwest, those are our pages on there, and they're being updated all the time by Justine. So if you can move on to the queue and the sharing, please, Susan. Okay, I can see my little clock counting down. So we have 3 minutes remaining before we get cut off. So we'll just move on to the Q&A session. So thank you to Anthony and to Kim for those positive comments. If Lorraine's already gone, then goodbye. And hope it goes well with her client. From Ed, will a Google search for Debt Free Southwest come up top of search and not step change, for example? The quick answer to that is yes, in time. It takes time for Google to be able to understand the new website, but with having the Facebook page being updated, the Twitter page being updated, and the website, then that's because it's coming from 3 different sources, then Google trusts it, and that's my very basic understanding of SEO. So eventually we will be up the top of the page. It may take a few weeks or a month for us to be up there, but that continuing updating will allow that to be the case. So we should be at the top of the ranking, but maybe below all of the paid ads for the less than scrupulous fee charging organisations that may be slightly above us. But we should be the top of the free searches, at least within a matter of time. Lauren, does anybody fancy debt advice by TikTok? My sister tells me that everyone under 25 uses it. I'm sure they do. From my limited understanding of TikTok, I think it's about videos, so maybe not live interaction, but I'm sure Justine will be on that and developing TikTok videos to promote the service. Okay.
I'm not familiar with Flex. Is
Flex.
everybody? Can you say a word more in the last 30 seconds in a couple of words?
In the last 30 seconds, I will just leave you with a teaser and say, come back on Friday and you'll find out all about it then.
All right, thank you.
Okay, before we get kicked out, I just want to say thank you everybody for coming this morning. And yeah, please explore the website, and if there's any issues with it, then please drop me an email.
Okay.
Great. Thanks very much for
Thank
your
you.
time. Take care. See you
Thanks.
tomorrow.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.